Hey guys, how are you today? So let's see what we're looking like. All right, so welcome. My name is Krista. If you guys are catching this on the replay, if you're new to me, my name is Krista. I am an enrolled agent by the Internal Revenue Service, and I also have a program called Tax and Accounting Clients on Demand that walks you guys through on how to use social media to attract and acquire tax and bookkeeping clients consistently. So in today's video, I want to walk through, tax prep fees, because every day everyone is asking me, how much to charge for tax preparation. Should they do a flat fee? Are they charging per form? And really how to maximize your revenue. So definitely say hi if you're catching this live. Let me know. Hey, Mr. Ragamuffin 75. Good day to you, sir. All right, guys. So normally how I see tax professionals charging is really based upon a flat fee. I've been seeing that a lot, especially for newer tax professionals. They, they probably just aren't as educated on pricing structures as more seasoned accountants or enrolled agents are. But two, they just feel like they aren't deserving enough to charge, what the big brands are charging or what a CPA charges or another enrolled agent or accountant. So one, my intention for you guys is to view this video and really leave away feeling empowered to actually charge your value. And two, to also work smarter and not harder when it comes to your tax clients and your tax revenue. So the old way was to get and acquire hundreds of tax clients and charge them like $100 to $200, right? And you were just like, okay, that's how I'm going to make six figures. I'm going to get, 800 tax clients. I'm going to all charge them $200, and that's how I'm going to make all of my money. And while that is a model to go by, that is not the best model. One, you're definitely going to be burned out if you do that, because everybody wants to pay cheap for taxes. Anybody in their right mind will always choose the cheaper version if they had an option, right? They're like, oh yeah, I'll pay $100 for that. But when it comes to actually providing and demonstrating value, you want to be able to attract a higher caliber client where price is not necessarily their driver. They aren't really motivated by the price. They're motivated by what is this going to be for me as a return on investment. So if I'm investing in tax preparation, I'm looking to see how competent is this individual and how much are they able to save me in taxes to where I'm paying the least amount and I'm saving year over year. So that's what your higher quality clients are going to care about. So I want to show you guys how you're going to be able to attract those higher quality clients. So Julia, she is one of my students. She just got a tax preparation client where she charged this business owner $3,000, and that was for 2 years. So it's $1,500 per tax year. Now, most of the people that I talked to, even if they've been in business for a few years, they probably would have only charged that guy $1,200 total, right? They probably would have charged him maybe $600 per tax year, if that. And so she's able to make an additional $1,500, $1,200 to $1,500, because one, she understands her value, and two, she has a niche. So when you first pick a niche for tax preparation, it's so many benefits to that. People ask me all the time, why do I need to pick a niche, Krista? I can help everybody. When you pick a niche, now all you do is have to geek out on that particular tax law to understand what are all of the tax reduction strategies that this niche needs to take advantage of in order to pay the least amount of taxes. What are all the legal tax loopholes? What are all the tax credits, the tax deductions that this particular client can take advantage of that's going to allow them to pay the least amount of taxes, and sometimes zero if you're really good, if you really can figure that out. And that's what big businesses and real entrepreneurs care about. We care about paying the least amount. We care about people to put into their knowledge and skills that's going to help them pay the least amount. So what you want to do is when you follow the niche format, now you just go to irs.gov. Now you just invest in your skill set. You buy books on that niche, tax strategies for that niche, and you learn how can I help these people get the best result. Now, when you attract the e-commerce store owner, a real estate investor, a real estate broker, a restaurateur, when you attract a janitorial business, whatever niche you go into, now it's a no-brainer for them to pay you $1,500, because one, you can demonstrate and you can quantify, this is how much I'm able to save you. right? Because I'm the best at niche tax strategies. This is how much I'm going to be able to save you. And for that, Mr. or Mrs. Business Owner, your investment to work with me is $1,500 per tax return or $1,800 per tax return. So a client or a prospect, she's not a client yet, a prospect that I spoke to the other day, she says, Krista, I have this tax client and I charged them like $200, I think it was. She was like, how much should I have charged them? I said, okay, well, here's the deal. I charge per form, right? So I charge for every populated schedule, every populated credit and deduction. I charge for every aspect of that tax return. If I populated it, I'm charging for it, right? So I asked her, I would say, well, give me a rundown on what you did on this tax return. She said, okay, well, they had 2 W-2s. They had a business, a Schedule C. They also had like mortgage interest and donations. I said, okay, just right there, just with those 4 items, I'm charging per item. So I'm charging to populate a 1040 form. That's a fee. I'm charging to populate each W-2 item to put that information in. So that's 3 prices right there. And then I'm definitely charging for the Schedule C form. So I was like, minimum, just based on my pricing, my fee would have been $850 just to populate those 4 things. Schedule C, Schedule A, 1040, and then the 2 W-2 forms. And she was just like, holy crap, like holy cannoli, like how? And I'm like, because I know my value and I know what's required in order to do that type of tax return. And now one, it's fair too, because if I have that same situation, now I'm not just guessing how this tax return should, like how much I should charge for the tax return, because everything is already populated in the system. So how do you guys charge right now? Who's charging per form? And how much do you guys typically charge for Schedule C? Because that's the second most requested question that I get is, how much should I charge for Schedule C for a self-employed person? So, hey, gig accountant, Mr. Ragamuffin is from the Virgin Islands. Hey, Carolina says, I was watching a video of you just right now. Hey, Carolina. Asia, hey. Quincy, hey. Danan, hello. Hey, Jennifer. And gig accountant is a Jersey CPA here thinking about tax bookkeeping side business. Yeah, beautiful. So Mr. Ragamuffin says that he charges per form. So how much, Mr. Ragamuffin, how much do you charge just for Schedule C? Just for Schedule C. I'm curious to know, how much are you guys just charging? If you are charging per form, how much are you charging just for Schedule C? Waverly says in New York City there's a minimum of $400 for Schedule C's. Okay, beautiful, beautiful. So if you're charging for Schedule C and this person also has 2 1099s and you're also populating like the earned income tax credit, like I'm charging for every single item. And that's how you want to do it, because if you just charge a flat fee, you're leaving so much money on the table, guys. So much money on the table. Cassandra says, I normally charge a flat fee. Schedule C tax return, I usually charge $450. So here's what I'm looking at, what you guys are doing. You're charging for Schedule C $450, but you're also charging that for the whole tax return. You're like, oh, you're Schedule C, so it's $450. No, you want to do Schedule C plus have a fee for everything that you populate for that tax return. If you populate a W-2, that there's a fee for Form W-2, and I think mine is $25 for every W-2 form that I populate. If you populate Schedule A, there's a price for Schedule A. If you populate Schedule E, there's a price for Schedule E. So, you know, at the end of the day, if you have a self-employed person, $450 is the base price. That's just you're just letting them know just to do your actual Schedule C to report your income and expenses for your business. That's $450, but I charge based on the complexity of the tax return and each additional form that, and each additional tax strategy, we'll word it that way, that I am able to discover for you that's going to allow you to pay the least amount of taxes, I charge for. So you always want to quantify, one, how much you're able to save your potential clients, because that's really what they're paying for. They're paying for how much can you save me? And or how much more money can I get legally on a refund, right? We're not talking about fluffing any numbers here. So you want to make sure that you are demonstrating and quantifying that amount. So you're going to say, based upon the information that I was able to compile with your tax information, based upon all the information that was given to me, I'm able to save you around $8,900 this year, Mr. Business Owner. Your tax preparation investment is $1,500. How would you like to pay? Visa, MasterCard, Amex. And they're like, okay, perfect, beautiful. Like, people care about results. They care about what you can do for them. They care about saving the most amount of money and paying the least amount. So that's what you guys want to sell them. You want to sell that with your services. So Mr. Ragamuffin says it really depends. If they are organized, then the Schedule C return will be around $500. Right. So $500 again is that's just your base price. That's not the total tax preparation fee, because more than likely they do have Schedule A, right? More than likely they have a mortgage, or they donate it to charity, or you're populating EITC if they have children and they make under a certain amount. Their net profits is under a certain amount. Maybe they have children, so you're populating the child tax credit. So you definitely want to make sure that you have a fee for each one of these credits, each one of those deductions, each one of those schedules. That's going to allow you to have a holistic pricing. Hey, Audrey. Hey, Keisha. Mr. Ragamuffin says, oh, this is good. So listen to what Mr. Ragamuffin says. He's like, I know my value, but at some point I have to consider what my competition is charging as well. That was good. That was good. And I want to respectfully, I love you, Mr. Ragamuffin, but I'm going to respectfully say, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. The industry average for tax preparation is $275. Me and my client's industry average is $700+. So industry average is for average tax professionals, accountants, CPAs, and enrolled agents. If you're just an average tax professional, charge what everybody else does. But if you are a tax professional, a CPA, EA, an accountant that invested in your knowledge, and you know all of the tax reduction strategies for this niche, charge your value. I don't care what the competition is charging. I don't care, because I'm not industry average. I know I geeked out on this, and I know legally how to save my clients the most amount of money. And you want to find clients that appreciate and that value that you bring to the table. You want to work with clients that appreciate that. You think Amazon cares how much he pays his CPAs to do his taxes? He doesn't care, because guess what? He's paying $0 in taxes, right? Amazon pays $0 in federal taxes, because they have CPAs that geeked out on his type of business, on e-commerce. They geeked out on what are all of the tax reduction strategies that this particular business model and entity can take advantage of. They did a research and development credit. They structured their businesses in order to take advantage of certain tax strategies. So you want to know this, you want to geek out on it, and you want to attract business owners that it's a no-brainer for them to pay you $1,800 for their taxes, because they see the value. They see that working with you is going to allow them to pay the least amount legally. We're not talking about getting in there and y'all fluffing some numbers and you got it down to zero. No, we don't want any problems with the Internal Revenue Service. We're talking that you actually geeked out and you understand tax reduction strategies, and you're applying it in a way that's going to help your clients make to save the most amount. But that was I love that you said that, Mr. Ragamuffin. Thank you. So Keisha says, so if they only have Schedule C, that would be a flat rate, right? Well, Keisha, no one just has Schedule C. No one just has Schedule C, because when you're thinking about the tax return at a holistic standpoint, you're going to populate 1040 form, like you're charging a fee just to populate the tax return. That's a fee. Form 1040 is a fee. Schedule C is a fee. And then if they have any other type of, like if they want to take any, let's just say any deductions or credits, all of those are fees as well. So rarely will you just go into it just doing Schedule C. You're always going to do something else. You're always going to have maybe some tax credits or deductions that you discovered for your client that's going to allow them to pay the least amount of taxes or increase their refund. And you just want to make sure that you're going to charge for all of those forms, everything that you populate. So Cassandra says, wow, I've really been leaving a lot of money on the table. Yeah. So if you really think about it, like a lot of money is being left on the table. And like I said, guys, like before the days were, okay, how can I get 100 earned income tax credit clients, right? And charge them all $300. Now, I'm not saying that we don't want our EITC clients. We want all the clients that we're going to get during tax season, okay? Don't make no mistake. We want all the clients, but we want to charge in a way that's strategic to where we're making more money per tax return because we structured in a way to get paid our value, right? You guys had to learn how to populate those credits and deductions. If it were easy, then the client would just go to TurboTax and do it themselves. So you have to charge for every piece of value that you populate on that tax return, right? And that's how you want to look at it. Like, this is value. So let's see, what else are you guys saying? Jennifer says, currently a set price, but I'm working on updating to perform. Beautiful, Jennifer. Hey, Savani. Welcome to the program, darling. Savani just joined the program. I'm super excited to work with you. Mr. Ragamuffin, I love you too. Audrey, Schedule C is populated to 1040, vehicle expense, etc. Okay. Alicia, where do you make your invoice statement? And Linnell, hey from Atlanta. Hey, Atlanta. Hey, Linnell from Atlanta. Alicia, so I use Crosslinks tax platform, and when I do when I'm doing taxes, one, I've already pre-populated all of my forms. Everything that I want to charge for, I already have it in Crosslinks, and I want to see if I can pull that up for you guys. So I already have everything populated. So as I'm doing a tax return, as I'm populating all of these schedules, Crosslinks is adding everything up on the invoice. So when I'm done, all I have to do is go to the invoice section, and then bam, it tells me how much the client's fee is, and it's consistent across the board. Now, if I run into a situation where it's a lot for that client, like maybe not even a lot, I'm not even gonna say that, but let's just say it's a really good client and I want to discount my price, well, it's no problem, because I can just go on the invoice and create a line item for a discount and make it a lot less, right, and make it cheaper. So let me see if I can show you guys that though on Crosslinks. Let me pull up Crosslinks right now, and let's see if I can show you guys how to do that. So in Crosslinks, let me see if I can switch around my camera. All right, so in Crosslinks, they have where it says, right here it says setup. You have office setup, printer setup, and then billing setup. This is where you actually want to keep all of your billing in, so you can actually charge per form, right? So let me see, when I click on billing, let me see if it's gonna allow me to set it up for you guys. Okay, so yeah, so here we go. So I went to billing setup, and then it's going to allow you to charge per form, right? So it has all of these forms already in here for you. So you have U.S. individual income tax return. So base quantity, let's just say I want to charge a base quantity of 150. Oh, base quantity is 1. So 1, and then the base price would be $150, right? So when you get your tax software, that's what you want to do. You actually want to log in, and you want to put a fee for all of this, right? So for the Puerto Rican residents, profit or loss from farming, I doubt if I get a client that has this, but I still want to put a price for it. For gambling winnings, form W2G, right? I'm going to scroll over, and I'm going to actually put for form W2G a price for that. So let's just say I wanted to charge $50. If they have form WT from gambling, I keep putting the amount in the quantity. So I'm gonna put quantity 1, and then the base price is 50. Okay, and I want to go down. So now when I actually go to a tax return and I'm doing a tax return, it's automatically going to be calculating up the fee. Okay, and then I'm going to name my billing scheme. So I'm just going to exit out of here. I'm going to add a new return, and I'm just going to put in some fake social security number. 5851 11111 5851. Okay. It better not says I have a client with that social security number. I will crack up, because we do training on here too. So, all right. So let's see, when I actually go to a tax return in Crosslinks, now when I actually start to do their taxes, it's going to start to pick up all of those fees. So when I go to add a form, Okay, so I must enter the filing status. But just so you guys know, like that's how it works. So you want to put in that form setup. You want to go to setup and do your billing setup. And that's how you're going to charge per form. Okay. And as you do your taxes, it's going to be calculating. And then you're just going to let the client know what the investment amount is. One, you're going to quantify how much you're able to save them first, right? Because we're juxtaposing this big price, this big amount next to your itty bitty tax fee, right? We're gonna try to make your tax fee look as small as possible. So we're gonna say Mr. and Mrs. Real Estate Investor, we were able to reduce your tax liability by $17,453 for tax year 2019. Your investment is $1,800. So we got $17,000 all the way up here, and then we got this little bitty $1,800. So they see that it's juxtaposed, like they can quantify the value, right? So that's how you want to do that. That's how you want to speak to your clients, right? You just don't want to be like, hey, your fee is $1,800, real estate dude. And I'm like, what did you do? What did you do? You want to juxtapose how much you quantify, how much you were able to save them. I love talking to you guys. Okay, so Keisha says, I'm going to do perform in crossings. Beautiful. Hate Sweet Venom from Houston. Hey, Jacob. Hey, Jacob, you follow me on Instagram. Hey, darling. Greg H, how long does it typically take to populate a Schedule C? How long does it typically take to populate a Schedule C? Yeah, so that's really... that is really based upon the client, right? So let me share my screen one more time with you guys. So if I want to go to Schedule C, I'm going to go to Add Form, and then I'm going to go to Schedule C, which is here, Profit or Loss from Business, New Taxpayer Occurrence. And then what I'm going to do is follow this step by step, right? I'm going to type in the principal, business, or profession. I'm going to find the business code. I'm going to go all through the alphabet right here. So they have A, B, C, D, all the way down. Okay. So it really just depends on how complex your client's profit and loss is, because you're populating Schedule C profit or loss from the business from your client's profit and loss statement. Okay. So if they have everything in order, but let's just say they have all of this, like they have advertising expense, car and truck expense, commission and fees, contract labor. Obviously, it's going to take you a lot longer than someone that just has income and maybe they just have office expense, supplies, utilities, and so forth. But if your client has cost of goods, cost of labor, materials and supplies, for you to fill out all of this is definitely going to take a lot longer. So it really is dependent upon the client and how organized they are with their profit and loss, with their income and expenses. I know some clients that they come in with a notebook of their profit and loss, right? And you kind of got to sift through it. Those are kind of like the one person owner operators, and they come in with their notebook. They might come in with some receipts. So it really just depends. Or you have the business owner that has been keeping track of their bookkeeping through QuickBooks, and now they just generated the profit and loss statement. They handed that to you with the balance sheet, and you can you could literally do a business tax return in under an hour if the person is organized, right? And provided that you know how to do it, right? Provided that you're experienced in tax law and you know which forms to populate for this client that's going to allow them to pay the least amount. So let's see. So great question. Keisha says, I love this. Thank you, Keisha. Audrey says, great information. Thank you, Audrey. Mr. Ragamuffin says, I use Pro Series. My billing is the same way. I put my pricing and billing setup, and as I do the return, everything automatically gets added up. So I just print the invoice when I print the tax return. Beautiful, beautiful. Cassandra says, I'm about to go into my tax software and set my per return fees today. Yes, Cassandra, great job. Conglomerator says, I'm studying for the CPA exam. Can I start bookkeeping tax service on the side while studying for the exam? For sure. Yeah, for sure. I would say do it now. Like, there's nothing stopping you. If you guys are studying for a CPA exam, if you're studying for the enroll agent exam, still get clients. You can still get clients, right? So, and honestly, that's how you're going to be able to retain a lot of that information. Because right now, when you're reading your CPA exam guides or your enroll agent exam guides, like everything is like theory at that point, right? You're reading it. you're trying to conceptualize it, but until you actually put it into practice, that's when you absorb everything. That's when you kind of like, I see how this tax law applies to this, or I see how this situation is with this. And you can, and honestly, you retain the information better when you actually put it into practice. So I would say it definitely, even if you're especially trying to pass an exam, put some of that stuff into practice so you can retain the information a lot better, and you won't have a harder, you increase your chances of passing. Alicia says, how do you keep your accounts receivables low? I have issues with clients that don't pay. Okay, Alicia, great question. So we don't send over taxes until we get payment, unless they have fee assist. So fee assist is where the client is opting to have their tax preparation fee deducted from their refund. That's only if they have a refund and they qualify for fee assist, and that's through your bank provider. So you have to go through a bank provider such as Refund Advantage, Santa Barbara Bank, Refundo. You go through a bank provider in order to take fees out of your client's refund. Now, if they don't have a refund and they have to pay up front, we're not submitting over any taxes to the Internal Revenue Service or the state until we receive payment. So they just don't get their taxes filed, and we communicate that with the client if they don't make payment. So when you communicate to your clients that their taxes is done, what you're doing, you're communicating to them, you're letting them know how much you saved them in taxes, you're letting them know the investment amount, and you're letting them know how they can pay you. You're not sending over the actual tax return, right? So you just have to be clear with that. A lot of you guys are just submitting everything for the client. No, like we don't submit anything over until we collect payment, because that's the service that they're paying for. They're paying for the submission of their federal and state return, and you just communicate that to the client. Like until payment is made, that's when your taxes will be submitted over to both the federal and state and local agencies, right? And then as far as collecting on your payments, like if you already submitted it over and now they owe you, just try to collect something. So, having people owe you, let's just say $5,000, you want to try to collect as much of that $5,000 as possible. So I would call everybody, I would text everyone to say, hey, what payment can you make? How much can you put towards this balance, right? And just try to collect something. I would rather you collect an additional $1,000 in revenue or $1,500 in revenue just by working with people. So try to work with them, because honestly, for the most part, I would say 90% of the time, these people aren't malicious. They aren't malicious with their intent to pay you. They just probably really don't have the money. So you just want to, try to be empathetic that way and say, hey, well, what do you have by September 15th that you can submit over? Even if it's $50, if they can put something towards their tax balance, that's still revenue collected for your office. So you just want to look at it from that standpoint. But also too, this is the cost of doing business. So every year I would have anywhere between $3,000 and like $5,000 in receivables, and that was from people who their refund got garnished, right? So they opted for fee assist, which was to take their fee, my fee, out of their refund, but they never got a refund. They got garnished by the Internal Revenue Service. They got garnished by child support. They got garnished by student loans, right? So those three things will jack you up. So you have to, you just have to go into it knowing that that is the cost of doing business. You're going to have people that are going to owe you money. So one, try to work with them, try to collect something. Can they send $20 can they put $20 on their balance? Or two, you definitely can write that off on your tax return, right? So any bad debts, you can definitely write that off on your taxes, next year when you do your own taxes, and just write it off as a loss. And that's what happens to a lot of businesses. You got to think about, all of these, anything where you can kind of get something on credit, you always run into the situation where people aren't going to pay you, or they're going to default, and they typically sell that to a collection agency and write it off as a bad debt on their own taxes. I think this is important. If you have lots of clients, you can save so much time by having your billing set up correctly, for sure. I use Refund Advantage. It works great. The clients love that option. Yes, I love Refund Advantage too, Audrey. I'm brand new to all of this. I just started taking the H&R Block 3-month tax course. Hope to get hired in January. I'm surprised how much I enjoy it. Yeah, like taxes is, I mean, I don't know, like you kind of got to be a certain level of geek to enjoy taxes, and all of you guys are just like me. Like you guys like this stuff. You geek out on this stuff. And it's fun. Like for me, this is fun. Like doing taxes is honestly, I enjoy doing taxes. So I think working at H&R Block or Liberty Tax is good. If you're new, it's not required. You don't have to work for a big brand or another accounting or tax office to get experience. You can do taxes on your own as long as you take in the courses that you need to take in order to increase your skills and to be confident. The other thing about going to those big brands that you want to pay attention to is that they do have a non-compete disclosure. So if you do work for like an H&R Block for a tax season, you aren't allowed to, one, take that client base with you if you do leave, and two, they prohibit you from doing taxes in that area for 2 years. That's typically the non-disclosure. So if you're thinking about working at like an H&R Block or a big brand for your first tax season, just know that they do have non-disclosures and non-compete agreements that prohibit you from opening up your own tax business or doing taxes within like a 100-mile radius for 2 years. So you just want to read your contract before you actually start working with those guys, because you don't want to breach your contract and be sued or anything like that. Cassandra says, as a tax professional, I have that conversation with my clients to figure out what tax debt they have, and if they do, then they have to pay up front before I submit their tax return. Yes, so I'm glad that you brought that up, Cassandra. So what you can do, you can call the IRS offset number. So just Google that, IRS offset number. So if you are offering fee assist for clients where they're opting to have your tax preparation fee taken out of their refund, that is a best practice to do, is to call the IRS offset number. It's an automated system. And of course, you're gonna you're gonna tell your clients that that you're doing it so they can consent to it. And then you're going to go through the automated system, putting in their social security number, and you're going to hear what tax debts are owed. And that will kind of allow you to kind of gauge the risk for this client, because they'll either say no tax debts on file, or they'll say there's a lien, or I don't know the verbiage, but they'll say something like the Department of Education has an interest in your refund. So if you hear something like that, if you hear like Department of Education or child support, or the Internal Revenue Service, then you know that that client has a high degree of not getting their federal refund. So you want to make sure that they either pay up front, or you're pretty sure that you're going to be able to take it from their state refund. So that's the other thing. So if you aren't able to collect it from their federal, 9 times out of 10 you can get your fee from their state refund, provided that they have an adequate refund to pay you from the state, and provided that there are any tax interest on their state refund as well. So I do know I've been saved a lot of times because I opted for the client to have fee assist from their federal or state. So whichever refund comes in first, you can have your fee taken out of that refund. But if they both get taken, then now you're in trouble, and now you got to hunt your money down. Is there a tax software that you recommend for starting your tax service from home? So Crosslinks. I use Crosslinks. I recommend Crosslinks, and I think that they are really streamlined. Like you guys saw it. It was like yellow and black, and everything was just, it's simple. You just go add a form and you start populating in your forms that way. And honestly, it is so user friendly. So I would definitely use Crosslinks. I would personally recommend Crosslinks. And no, I do not get paid by Crosslinks. I should call them and ask them to pay me, because I've sent a lot of business their way from my videos. So I should be getting paid. But no, this is not my software. I don't get paid by Crosslinks. I honestly just recommend it because I've been using it for the past several years. Savani says, do I need to ask clients to bring articles of org and Secretary of State letter for preparing S-Corp return, or just prepare based on whatever information clients told me? articles of organization and Secretary of State letter, a lot of that stuff, if you need it, you could pull it up online. I know for the state of Michigan, I can pull up their articles of incorporation online for free. It's public information. So if you do, on the S Corp return, it does ask you what date the S Corp was incorporated. So you do need to know that. Like if the client doesn't know the specific date, then you would need those articles of incorporation, or you could pull it up on the state website. But yes, there is certain pieces of information that you are asked that you would need, such as when the S Corp was incorporated. You need to know a specific date. And so yes, that would help. So just try to pull it up online, or you can have your clients bring it in. But you definitely need their profit and loss statement. You need their balance sheet. And you want to know all of in their payroll form. So if they ran payroll for that year, if they're an S Corp, they should have been running payroll for at least themselves. So you need their W-3 transmittal. And then you want to see any other information that they submitted over to any government entity. So it may be they paid 1099 contractors and they file those with the IRS and state. So you just want copies of that, so when you're preparing the taxes, you can have that information readily available. I would say get as much information as possible. It's better to have more than what you need than to continue to have to follow up with the client to ask. But I would recommend having like a checklist. And in the program, there is a checklist in the program that I have, that I give you guys, that you want to check off when you're doing taxes. So just to make sure that you're asking for everything up front, and you aren't, constantly having to ping back and forth with your clients to get over source documents. I'm lucky. I average about $600 tax returns per year, and out of those, maybe 10 or so clients will owe a balance, and it usually is my SAR. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. I try to collect on my receivables by sending a reminder every few months to my clients. I offer a payment arrangement with them and take a percentage off of the amount due. This helps me to clear up my bad debts. Okay, great advice, Audrey. Audrey uses Intuit Pro Connect online. Yeah, I use them too. I do kind of use them sometimes. I can't remember. Crosslinks didn't allow you to do a 990, and I had to use ProConnect. So I do have ProConnect as well, and it already syncs up to, it's already a part of like QuickBooks, so it's kind of like you have all of your information in one platform. What course and/or book you recommend to study for the SEE? So for to become an enrolled agent, I would recommend the complete guide, the complete study guide. And actually, let me see, I have it right here. Okay, this is what it looks like. Complete individual business and representation. This is how big it is. Okay, and this is on Amazon for like $170. So this is what we're actually, we're taking this information and we're going to put it in a digital format. We're not plagiarizing anything. I'm creating my own my EA program based upon the format of the EA review for you guys. And we're also applying with the Internal Revenue Service to actually get CE credit. So you will eventually be able to just come to me for everything, pass your EA exam, learn tax preparation, but also get continuing education credits, because we are working on our accreditation with the Internal Revenue Service. So that's coming up pretty soon. But until then, I would recommend this book. It's a little pricey, $170, but look how big it is. Like this bad boy is a monster. But it will, I just study that. You also can do Gleam, you can do Gleam, you can do Passkey. It's a few other ones online that you can that are video. If you don't like reading, I can read that. I think it took me 2 to 3 months to read that whole book and to pass all of the exams. And then here's another one. You want to order the workbook. The workbook. So these are a little dated, but the workbook actually has questions, like test questions in it that you can practice. And if you could pass this workbook, if you can get 80+% on the workbook, you're ready to take the EA exam, because you're going to be able to pass the exam. So this one has 6 complete IRS exams in it. So it's just a workbook where you're just testing your knowledge from reading the first book that I showed you. Hey, Brown Sugar. She says, hey, Krista. Let me make sure my phone isn't about to die on you guys. Let's see here. Make sure we don't die. Okay. So you guys have to go down a little bit. All right, so what else did you guys say? Thanks for the info about the non-compete for H&R Block. I didn't know that. I still plan on working there. Seems the quickest way to get experience. Okay, yeah. Do you recommend online tax courses like the income tax school? I think the income, I mean, honestly, I think it's a little pricey for what they give you. And that's my I think it's like $450 for their tax preparation course. And honestly, that is a little bit steep. Because a lot of, I mean, one, tax law is public knowledge. You can go online and go on to irs.gov and learn that stuff. It's just you're paying for the format. You're paying to have ABC 1, 2, 3 laid out for you. So I would say if you have the resources to invest, go for it. But this is why we're coming out with our own tax preparation training. It's actually going to be open on September 30th, where we're actually walking through the complete gamut on tax law, and we're breaking it up ABC 1, 2, 3, so you guys have a cohesive format to follow, and it's super cheap. So I mean, I'm trying to help as many people as possible learn tax law without having to spend $500 to do so, because a lot of you guys are starting this business on a shoestring budget. So, you know, I would say if you don't want to work with me, you can go to Amazon and just get a tax preparer book. So there are a few tax preparer books. This one is old. This is what I used when I first got into business, but this is the Registered Tax Return Prepare. But what it does, it walks through everything that you need to know, every broad section. So it goes over the income tax returns, income and assets, deductions and credits, other taxes, completion of the filing process, ethics, and circular 230. So a lot of you guys don't know, but back in the day, you had to be a registered tax preparer. You actually had to take an exam. It was really similar to becoming an enrolled agent, but less rigorous. You had to study a book, and you actually had to take an exam to become registered with the Internal Revenue Service just to do taxes. There was some litigation around that, and you know, we won as far as not having to be registered, and so now you don't have to be registered, but the information you learn is still valuable. So I would say try to find some books on Amazon that are, you know, $30, $40 that has it kind of compiled in a way that it's easy to understand. I don't think you need to spend $450 on the income tax school to learn tax law. I just don't. So let's see. Amazon has a 2019-20. Yes, thank you, Audrey. I am going to start AE review soon. Which software is best for starters? Crosslinks. So Van, if you're just joining, I talked about Crosslinks a few minutes ago. I don't know which one would be good. I'm going to file only W-2 and 1099. Okay, so Crosslinks has two packages. So you can just get the individual tax package where you can do unlimited tax returns, or you can do individual and business, and both of them are unlimited tax returns. And I pay $1,400, I believe, for individual and business. And their pricing is different based upon how many tax returns you file, how long, you know, just really how many tax returns you file. They give you certain discounts. So you just want to take that into consideration if your pricing is different from mine. But I do like them because, you know, for one price is one flat fee. Alicia says, this is way off subject, but what is your ethnicity? You look Hispanic. Hey, Alicia. Okay, so I am Hispanic, Black, and Irish. My dad's father is white, and my mother's father is Hispanic, and they're both Black. So I am Black, Hispanic, and Irish. But I don't really know how to speak Spanish, so más o menos. You guys gonna have to teach me how to speak Spanish. Acelia, hey Acelia, I think H&R Block's no compete clause is that you cannot prepare taxes outside of H&R Block for 2 years. Yes. Just don't complete the class. As soon as they give you the contract, get out like the movie. Acelia, you are funny. Acelia's in New York. Hey Acelia. Brown Sugar says, how do you review clients' tax return online? Is it over the phone or do you video chat with them? Yeah, so both. So I do a video chat like this where I actually share my screen with the client, especially if they're out of state. And we do a video chat, which video chat is fun because it's really the second best thing to actually being in front of somebody, right? Van says, thank you very much. You're welcome. Yeah, I think these study courses are just way too expensive. You can get everything you need for free online, plus getting hands-on experience is extremely helpful. Right. So the only thing I would just say about that, I would add to that is, yes, you can get everything for free online, but it's like, is it formatted in a way to where you're not guessing what you need to know online? So for instance, when you actually look at this book, you actually go to the table of contents, they actually have everything broken down. So part 1, individuals, and then under individuals, they have every piece of content that you need to learn in the individual section. So I would say the only way, well, the reason why people pay for stuff, to learn stuff, is because they don't have time trying to figure out, well, what do I need to study? What do I need to know? Like, what all do I need to know? They rather pay for someone like me or like the income tax school, even though they charge a lot, to actually format the information of everything that they need to know in order to get the result. It's the same thing for your clients. Like, yeah, they can go to TurboTax, or they can even file their taxes for free with all of these free tax filing softwares, but they don't know every step and which order they should take those steps to get the result that they need to get. So it's just the same. That's why people pay for services. We don't have time to try to figure out what's all the information do I need to know, how do I apply the information, and how do I get results. I'd rather just pay somebody and speed up that process. Brown Sugar, do you use WebEx or Zoom? Zoom for sure. But isn't that H&R Block for not working on their clients, especially those that you worked on? I don't understand, Waverly. Say that one more time. What kind of business entity should we form and start tax and accounting service from home, LLC, LLP, Corp, etc.? Okay, so that's really a question that, that's a question that you would ask your tax advisor, right? You are the tax advisor, so that's something that you need to know based upon how much, like, what's your projection for your business? How much do you project in net profits for the business? That will greatly determine how you should structure yourself. I would say, just as a blind, I guess, advice, you want to make sure that you aren't commingling your individual life and your business life. So I would definitely sever all ties. I would open up a separate bank account. I would get my business incorporated, more than likely as an LLC, as a limited liability company, because an LLC is a hybrid entity. So you can be taxed as a disregarded entity, which is a sole proprietor, or you could be taxed as a corporation or an S corp or a partnership, right? So you want to incorporate as an LLC, and then as your business changes, you can see what is the next logical step should you get an entity conversion to an S corp based upon how much net profits you had for 2019, right? Or for 2020, whenever you're watching this video. So I would say definitely get your business incorporated, get your EIN, start your business bank account, keep everything separate, and don't commingle your funds. And then start doing your own bookkeeping, keeping track of all of the expenses that you are paying into your, that you're using to start this business, and making sure that as you accept client payments, that you are putting everything into your business bank account. Hey, Tika Bella. Zoom here. Celia says, how do you initiate the Zoom? Can you install Zoom on your website? Potential clients, do they sign up by themselves? Do they, Zoom? Okay, so, yeah, so you just send your client a Zoom link, and then the link, you put the appointment in Zoom, and then you send them the Zoom webinar room, and they click on that, and then they join you. Is it okay to email a client's tax return now that the IRS is strict on protecting identity? What's the safest way? So yeah, like most tax software has encryption services. So when I send a tax return, when I email a client's tax return, it's encrypted and they only can open it up with their password. So as long as you are following basic encryption, you're fine. And you either want to leverage your tax software, which all of you guys' tax software should allow you to send tax returns with encryption, or you can pay for a separate service like Safe Vault. They have an accountant's version that allows you to send over documents securely or share documents securely, and that's the way that you want to go. Greg says, do you think it's worth becoming a U.S. tax court practitioner? So I'm assuming just becoming an enrolled agent, right, to be able to practice before the Internal Revenue Service. And I would say if that's a service that you want to offer, then I would say go for it, because either or you're gonna like that's a niche that you can tap into, and you're gonna be able to make a six-figure income from, right? So it's really just depending on, you know, what type of services you really want to do. And I would say as long as you do want to do that service, I would go for it. I would go for it. That's kind of like the same question of people asking me, should I become a CPA or EA? I just let them know, well, what services do you want to provide? If you don't want to, you know, necessarily do audits or compilations or reviews, then you don't need to become a CPA, because you can do everything else without that. Like the majority of what a CPA does is compliance services, honestly. Like they do bookkeeping, taxes, tax resolution, accounting services. It's just that for the actual license, you need, if you're going to provide assurance services, you need to be a CPA. So I would say, you know, I always ask people, it really depends on what services you want to provide. And if you want to provide a service that doesn't require a particular license, I would say definitely go ahead and do that. Do that. All right, guys, awesome. So what I'm going to try to do is go live with you guys a few times a week as we lead up to tax season, because I want to make sure that I'm going over very specific topics that's going to allow you guys, one, to get tax clients, two, to work smarter, not harder, and three, to make the money that you deserve. I want you guys all making the type of money that's going to allow you to grow your business and live the lifestyle that you want. So if you guys have any questions, definitely just pop them below, and I'll try to post in YouTube when I'm going to go live again, so you guys are ready with your pen and paper and with your questions locked and loaded. And guys, have a great rest of the day. I'll see you later. Bye.